Hello, and welcome to my review of HBO's House of the Dragon Episode 3, Second of His Name. Well, this was a great episode, I gotta say. Had me hooked from beginning to end. Though I will say the ending was the main event for sure, it's really making me happy seeing how well this show is developing, for now at least. Before getting into the top 5 moments of the episode, honorable mentions go to the scene between Viserys and his Master of Laws, Lionel Strong. For the second episode in a row, this character has impressed me with his responsible, level-headed approach to politics. His scenes are never big and showy, but Lionel Strong is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters. Another honorable mention goes to the introduction of the dragon Sea Smoke with its rider Rhaenyra Velaryon. It's pretty great being introduced to more and more of their dragons, and I can only imagine how the battles will look when the fighting really gets underway. Now moving on, I'll start with what I felt was the 5th best moment of the episode, and that was the opening scene with Daemon Targaryen atop Caraxes, killing enemies and his own captured soldiers while hunting the crab feeder. What a great way to start the episode. I was immediately hooked to watching the rogue prince burn his enemies alive, and I also loved seeing the Triarchy soldiers fighting back, as the training and experience they received fighting dragons in this war will have serious consequences in the future, so it was great getting to see the enemy adapt to the situation. Now for the 4th best moment of the night, I chose Viserys, drunk and miserable while on the hunt. For me, this show has presented Viserys even weaker and less self-assured than my impression from the books, especially when it comes to Rhaenyra, so I felt that there were a lot of reasons to dislike Viserys up to this point. But my god, seeing him sitting there, drinking himself into a stupor, looking like the most miserable man on the planet, during a day where he should be celebrating the birth of his son Aegon, I felt so damn sorry for him, seeing his spirit so utterly crushed. In that moment, I felt the weight of all those pressures upon him, and couldn't help but wonder whether his cousin Rhaenys, the queen who never was, might have been better suited for this position and better able to make these difficult decisions. For the 3rd best moment of the night, I went with the conversation between Viserys and Alicent about his prophetic dream. One of the biggest changes from the books I've noticed is how they're making Alicent a more sympathetic character, as they're making it clear she has a good nature but has been trained and manipulated all her life to be in this position. This pressure upon her was then furthered when Viserys revealed his dream, as Alicent now has a non-selfish reason for wanting her son to be king. In the books, it seemed like Alicent and Otto were simply greedy and ambitious, but this show is definitely making their perspective more understandable. They're still wrong in my opinion, but at least I'm far more understanding of their views. And that includes Otto, from the small scenes he's having with his elder brother who's the head of their house in Old Town. This scene also helped me sympathize more with Viserys, as he is clearly tortured by the burden of knowledge, no doubt driving himself insane trying to figure out how to make the prophecy he saw come true, or at least figure out its meaning, all the while keeping his word to his beloved daughter and heir. For the number 2 spot, I went with Viserys finally showing some strength and talking to Rhaenyra about her future. This is the scene I've been waiting for since episode 1, as one of the things I liked most about Viserys from the books was that he was always steadfast about his daughter. He was weak and indecisive in every other area of life, but when it came to Rhaenyra, he made it clear she was the heir and specifically went out of his way to train her for the position. After the first 2 episodes, I figured they were changing this and making Viserys weak when it comes to his daughter as well. But finally, I got to see some strength for a moment, speaking honestly to his daughter about what's expected of her, what she must do to win allies and consolidate her role as heir, then making it clear he would not replace her and giving her the chance to choose her own partner, both things she desperately needed to hear as it finally gives her a sense of power and control. Finally, for the best moment of the episode, I went with Daemon Targaryen's defeat of the crab feeder in the Stepstones. Okay, I have to admit they got me with this one. I was livid when Daemon attacked the messenger from the capital, especially after seeing how badly their soldiers were faring. This part is very different from what I remembered, as in the books, Viserys was helping Daemon from the beginning, and this dramatic rift between them was nowhere near as extreme. So when Daemon attacked the messenger, I genuinely thought he lost his damn mind. But then of course, they showed Daemon surrendering, and as soon as I saw the white flag, I knew it had to be a trap. So suddenly my interest was piqued and my expectations grew. Then the trap was sprung, and what followed was the best action scene in the show so far. Although there were some small parts of this scene that went a bit too far for me in terms of believability, overall it didn't bother me because this all felt so epic and satisfying. Seeing Rhaenyra on Sea Smoke while Corlys led soldiers on the ground was all great stuff, and the battle looked amazing. I was a bit sad we didn't get to see Daemon kill the crab feeder, but it was definitely a cool visual seeing his corpse dragged out of that cave. And after all that, we finally get a shot of Daemon covered in mud and blood, having defeated the crab feeder without the aid of his brother, and the only thought in my mind was that I was looking at the king of the Stepstones in the narrow sea. So those were my top 5 moments, and my god, what a great episode that was. Definitely the best so far, in my opinion. There were a few things I could nitpick that for me weren't ideal, even during scenes I enjoyed, like in the opening dragon scene, as I didn't care for the prisoner who was yelling and got killed. This seemed like an unnecessary distraction to the epic scene unfolding around them. I'm sure the writers were making some point about how common soldiers are killed without any consideration, but I think it detracted from the scene. I'm also not sold on the relationship between Criston Cole and Rhaenyra. To be honest, I thought they would be a lot closer by now. At the moment, I don't really see much of a connection there. The final criticism I had was from what I chose as the best moment of the night, and that was when the Crabfeeder pulled his troops from hiding and sent them to kill Daemon Targaryen. To me, this seemed absolutely ridiculous. Why would he send all or most of his soldiers after only one man, when they already have bowmen at the ready and they know a dragon could be lurking? This didn't make any sense to me, and it seemed obvious they were walking into a trap. This, in addition to Daemon somehow being able to avoid hundreds of arrows, stretched believability too far for me. But since this scene was amazing in general, and ended on such a badass note, these little criticisms didn't really affect my enjoyment very much at all. Now, for the best kill of the episode, I went with the many men being burned alive by Daemon Targaryen at the beginning, largely because of that great shot we got of the Crabfeeder watching from his cave. While the best quote of the night goes to the Viserys voiceover reading the letter he wrote to Daemon. "Brother, I have ordered 10 ships and 2,000 men to sail from King's Landing to join the effort in the Stepstones. Though time and circumstance have seen us estranged, know that it is not my desire to see you fail in your course. It is instead my hope that this aid will deliver the victory that has thus far evaded us. I shall pray nightly to the gods for your safe return." I thought this message was very kind and generous, all things considered, but as soon as I heard Viserys say the word fail, I knew Daemon was not going to take it well, and he definitely didn't, as he then attacked the messenger. So those are my thoughts for The House of the Dragon Episode 3, second of his name. Overall, I gave this episode a 9 out of 10, as this was another absolutely excellent addition to the show. But what did you all think? Do you agree this is the best episode so far? And how do you think the show as a whole is going? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to check out the links to some of my other recent videos, like the spoiler-free Prelude to the House of the Dragon video, and the spoiler-filled Dance of the Dragons video, as well as many others. So for now, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and check out the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos, vote on future content, and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.